Hello, this is Joe from Nerd in Korea, and we are doing our Budget Staple series. So Budget Staple Mono Black 2, alright, 2. This is Instants and Sorceries we're on to now. So this is the second video in the series, as I said. The first video was on Mono Black creatures, so if you want to watch that one, go check it out, please. And Instants and Sorceries, here we go. So, looking at this one, this is actually from the Murders at Markov, or I keep saying Karlov, not Markov, Karlov Manor, and I actually suggested this as one of my top budget picks from that as well. Again, this is an instant. It is a great combo within kind of mill strategy. Basically, the target mills X cards to exile. So again, they exile the cards. They don't really mill them. It goes into your graveyard. I'm not sure why I said mills to exile. They just exile them. But anyway. And you may cast a spell exiled this way. So first of all, it is an extra card in your hand. And it is some selection, right? Any of the spells they mill, you can cast, all right? And you can use any type of mana to cast a spell this way. It also just gets it, it takes away their options. So stealing their stuff, stealing your opponent's stuff is always fun. Anyway, that is 80 cents. So a great thing if you're doing any kind of mill, because it does reduce the cards, or just in general to be like, I have your stuff. That's fun, yeah. Command the Dread Horde. I keep wanting to say Dead Horde instead of Dread Horde. I don't know why, but anyway. My friend, I actually had this card picked out as one, and a friend of mine recommended this as well. So, hey, there's two people standing up for this card. Anyway, it is a sorcery. Choose any number of creatures and planeswalkers in any graveyard. Take damage equal to their CMC and put them into the battlefield under your control. Okay, so basically, remember CMC, converted mana cost. So if the cost of the creature is, say, 4 black, that's 6, you take 6 damage to put it back on the battlefield under your control. But this also lets you steal from your opponent's graveyards, right? Any graveyard, not just your own. So, especially if you have something like a life gain deck, where you're able to gain life very easily, this is an ideal card. All right, this is a great card. I think 6 is pretty steep, but you can easily get more than 6. Again, if you have more than 6 life, you can pay 6. 6 life. Again, life is a resource. Life is a resource. 67 cents though, 67 cents, not bad at all. Next up, Dredge the Mire. Another sorcery. Each opponent chooses a creature card in their graveyard. Put it in the battlefield under your control. So they do get a choice. It's not a good choice though. Excuse me. Especially if you can exile other people's graveyards and then put in a good creature, they don't really have a choice then, right? So this is very useful if you're doing some kind of graveyard, if you're exiling their graveyard and you can just steal, kill something that you like of theirs, and then you cast this and steal it. So it is only 4. Once again, you can easily get more than 4 mana value out of this with this creature. But in a 1v1 game, this is not impressive, I think. In a commander game, I think it's going to be hard for them to not give you more than 4 mana worth, right? If all 3 opponents that you have happen to have something in their graveyard, a creature worth 1 mana, okay, you're going to get 3 mana. But that's the only time. And I think that does not always happen, that's for sure. Especially if you can control their graveyard somewhat. If you can exile that graveyard, then this is something that's going to pay off massively. Topaz Dragon. So this is actually an adventure, so I'm kinda cheating here. It is an instant adventure. The instant is creatures you control gain death touch until end of turn, and that's for 1 and a black. Again, having death touch, flying death touch is what the Topaz Dragon, 4/4 flying death touch. That's a scary one, right? Usually, I think the flyers are like something that you think, oh, you can be very aggressive with. But with the Topaz Dragon, yeah. They're going to want to be like, oh, well, maybe not, right? This is a great thing to like have on the board, and just it might seem like it doesn't really do anything, but what it does is it gets people not to attack you, right? It doesn't do a lot of blocking, maybe, but it definitely is going to like discourage people from even trying, and that's what it does. But anyway, with that, at instant speed, creatures you control gain death touch. Instant speed. So basically, you're gonna wait until they declare blockers, right? They have all their blockers lined up, and then you cast this and just decimate whatever, you know? So it's gonna look like you're maybe making a not very smart attack, and then all of a sudden you blow them apart. 96 cents for this. Again, I really love it. It's a combat trick, and then it becomes a creature, right? Combat trick into a flying death touch creature. Very nice combination, I think. 96 cents as well. Really not worth it. Definitely worth it, and it will fit into just about any deck, right? A combat trick giving everything death touch. It's more about how you set up the situation than it is about the deck. Unless you have a deck where you don't use creatures, which would be weird. Anyway, next up we have Shadow's Verdict. It is a sorcery. Exile all creatures and planeswalkers with CMC 3 or less from the battlefield and graveyard. So most board wipes do not target graveyards as well. So there are going to be a lot of strategies where your opponents are casting things back out of the graveyard, right? They're looping things back. My hair is being annoying right now. I don't know why. I keep getting this little curl thing on the side of my head. Driving me crazy, but anyway. Getting things out of your opponent's graveyards, especially selectively, being like, oh, now you have no more, any creatures that are 3 or less, just out of your graveyard. Especially if you combine that with something like where you're getting something from their graveyard. That's an amazing combination, because then, you know, like we said before, where if they choose something from the graveyard to give you, basically, if you get rid of all of the creatures that are 3 or less CMC, they're going to start with like 4 CMC, right? That's the kind of baseline of what they can give you. So if the mana cost of the spell is 4, and you have 3 opponents who have a decent sized graveyard, you're probably looking at like 12, right? 12 mana worth coming back to you. So again, 15 cents, and this is something that you can use very easily, and also counters a lot of things. Anytime your opponents are bringing a lot of things back into the graveyard, it probably will include a lot of things that are like 3 CMC or less. So, yeah. Lich Knight's Conquest, not Lick Knights. I can never have a video without something where I make a mistake, but yeah, Lick Knight's Conquest. Lich Knight. Anyway, this is a sorcery. Sacrifice any number of artifacts, enchantments, or tokens. This is the important one, tokens. To return that many creatures from the graveyard to the battlefield. Once again, I think 2 important things there. Number 1, tokens. You can sacrifice token creatures. You got a bunch of 1/1 tokens. Those are whatever, right? You can sacrifice however many you want, so this does not set the number you have to do. So if you have 3 creatures you want back out of your graveyard to the battlefield, sacrifice 3 things. Also, if you have something that lets you get artifacts or enchantments out of your graveyard easily, hey, do the artifacts or enchantments, right? This is a very, very flexible card, and it is straight from graveyard to the battlefield. That's a lot of things do not go straight back to the battlefield. So this is something that I think is, again, not returning it to your hand where you have to cast it again, just straight back to the battlefield, is so much better. In most cases, because you don't have to cast it again, right? It's basically just saving you a whole turn going straight back to the battlefield rather than hand, tap, mana, cast. That's a whole turn right there, right? So for 5 mana, you can get like an entire turn's worth of stuff back out of your graveyard. Really an amazing card, and 50 cents. 5 mana, 50 cents, you know? I cannot believe this is a lot. This seems like it should be a lot more common, because like I don't know what deck can't use this. You don't need a token deck to use this, right? Pretty much anything potentially can do this. Even if you make a few tokens, it's already worth having this in there, right? But anyway. And Veritas's Maneuver. I feel like the double S is wrong, but anyway, maybe I could be wrong about that. I don't think I am. Anyway, it's a sorcery. For each player, you choose friend or foe. I love these cards. There's just not enough, like I think red and black often don't have enough kind of like political cards. So when you do find one, I'd say you should get it. So friends return a card from the graveyard to their hand. Foes have to sacrifice a creature. Again, for only 3 mana, forcing all of your opponents to sacrifice a creature, already very good. But anything where you have choice, you could say, look, you either sacrifice your creature or you get something back, but you leave me alone for like 2 turns even. You do some wheeling and dealing with this. This is a very effective card for that. It's $1.72 right now. So it is in our budget zone, but I think for not much longer. I would not expect this to stay this cheap. It's just way too useful. Anyway, the next video, we cover a lot of information. Pretty much all our non-creature permanents we do next time. So, mono black enchantments, artifacts, and planeswalkers. We're not doing battles, but, you know, maybe in another video. Anyway, well, take it easy, and thank you for watching. Hope to see you in the next one.